Hello everyone, it's week 18 now, and this week my waist was 81 centimeters. Probably only 2 to 3 weeks left until it's 80 centimeters, which was my final goal. Although, maybe I'll go beyond that, who knows. Average daily calories were 2,626 and my weight was down 0.4 kilos from last week. I haven't really shown any pictures of my legs, but here's a comparison between week 5 and this week. You can pretty clearly see some muscle definition starting to show up in these big boys. Here's also a back comparison between week 1 and this week. My average daily steps were just under 15,000 and I had to skip one of my workouts and modify another one. This is because my right wrist was hurting really bad. Even putting a little bit of force on it or bending it a little bit caused severe pain. I didn't go to the doctor about it or anything because things like these usually resolve on their own within a few days to a week, which is luckily exactly what happened. It's now Monday of the next week as I'm doing this voiceover, and it's almost completely fine. As for the cause of this, I have absolutely no idea, but in my experience these kinds of things sort of just come and go. The pain detection system of the body isn't exactly state-of-the-art technology. Do feel free to make all the fapping jokes you want though. But basically, when I woke up on Thursday, I couldn't bend my wrist more than like this much without severe pain, and I couldn't close my fingers at all without severe pain. I tried to go to the gym and do my workout. I couldn't even pick up a 5-kilo dumbbell with my right hand. I ended up deciding to do what I can instead of not training at all, which can sometimes be really tough when you have an injury that affects almost everything. I picked up the plates without using my right wrist at all, and I ended up doing my squats as I normally do, except with a false grip and not using a belt, because putting on the belt and especially taking it off was extremely painful with this right wrist. I tried it at home. The squats went pretty well overall. I ended up getting a good stimulus. The only real problem was that since I couldn't grip onto the bar properly, I couldn't pull it into my body and keep it stable, so it was kind of wobbling around and making the reps harder than they should have been. Then what I did with my upper body was simply only using my left side on each of the exercises. It took a few sets of getting used to on the dumbbell bench press because of instability, but in the end it ended up being pretty good. I even got this really nice view of the sunrise on the set that I recorded. I tried to do my dumbbell rows leaning onto my right wrist, trying to keep it as straight as possible, but as you can see here, it didn't really work out. I tried multiple different positions and angles, but quickly realized that holy shit, the pain is way too much. So this is how I did them, basically the same way you would do them using both arms, but just leaning onto my knee with my right elbow. The only real problem was that in order to maintain balance, I couldn't lean onto the left side too much, so I ended up bumping the dumbbell into my knee several times, which kinda hurts like a motherfucker. But sometimes we have to do painful things for gains. Also ended up doing my pushdowns and cable curls with just the left side. Basic stuff, nothing really special about those. Now, if anyone is worried about muscle imbalances, it takes about 6 months for me to gain 1 kilogram of muscle mass. So doing a few workouts only using my left side isn't going to do anything. In fact, it's been found that when you only train one side of your body, it does have positive effects on your other side as well, which is pretty useful for scenarios where you're injured. Despite not being part of this workout, I decided to try chest flies on the machine at the end of it, and surprisingly enough, I was able to do them using both arms. I quickly realized this was because it didn't put any vertical pressure on my forearm through my wrist, and I didn't need to bend my wrist or my fingers while doing it. I ended up skipping the last workout of the week because there was no way I was going to do stiff-legged deadlifts when I wasn't even able to pick up a 5-kilo dumbbell with my right arm. Same thing on the vertical pull, and I already performed machine flies. The only things left are lateral raises and calf raises. And to be completely real with you, I wasn't gonna go to the gym for calf raises and one-arm lateral raises. Now let's switch topics. How much difference in body weight do you think there is between these two pictures? 10 kilos? 12 kilos? Maybe as much as 15 kilos? Nope, it's 17 kilos. And if I wanted to get truly shredded, say under 10% body fat, I would still have to lose probably another 17 kilos of body fat. which is not something I am going to do or something I want to do. Yeah, my abs are kinda visible, but I also have massive handles of fat in my lower back and at the sides of my ass. This is all just to point out that if you are slightly on the thicker side, you probably have more body fat to lose than you think. So set realistic expectations when you start dieting. But also realize that you are in the lucky category of people who can build muscle while losing fat, because the more fat your body has, the less freaked out and thus catabolic it gets when you start losing it. Now onto something related to this. When you start dieting, should you do it aggressively or should you ease into it? A 2005 study, as referenced by Greg Nuckols in this article here, found that each pound of body fat you have is able to burn about 22 calories worth of energy of itself every day. I myself am about 17% body fat at 194 pounds, which means I have 33 pounds of fat on me and can burn about 725 calories of fat per day. If I were to go beyond that, I would start risking muscle loss. So this is essentially the maximum efficient daily deficit for losing body fat. If you had 100 pounds of fat on you, the number would be 2,200 calories per day. If you had only 10 pounds of fat on you, the number would be 220 calories per day. This very directly means that your deficit should be larger at the beginning of your diet, and it should get smaller and smaller as you lose more and more fat. Now the good thing is that this can happen kind of automatically for many people. At the beginning of your diet, you are obviously heavier than later on, so your energy expenditure will be higher. Then as the diet goes on, you get lighter, so your energy expenditure drops, given the same amount of physical activity. Say you're a 220 pound, moderately active guy. Your daily energy expenditure might be 3,500 calories at the beginning of your 6-month diet, and then 3,000 calories towards the end of it, if you don't increase or decrease your physical activity during that time. So, for example, if you eat 2,500 calories per day every day throughout your diet, your deficit will be larger at the beginning and smaller at the end, automatically. But some people can get very lethargic during a diet and decrease their physical activity down to almost nothing, in which case 2,500 calories per day might eventually not even be a deficit anymore for them. And obviously, if you intentionally increase your physical activity during a diet like I have, you can retain a very high energy expenditure despite getting lighter. This is why I can actually eat more now than at the beginning of my diet and still hit my optimal daily calorie deficit for fat loss. It's a personal choice because I like food and I like to eat it. Anyway, I think that's all I wanted to talk about this week, and my pasta water is boiling over there, so I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.